Welcome, Alison Morse from Easter Seals, Ontario, and thank you for joining us today at our virtual CTN information fair.
Well, I'm very pleased to be here. I am the Senior Manager for Advocacy and Family Engagement, but I've just left the position of Senior Manager for Services, so I'm very familiar with all of our services.
Perfect. Well, welcome. So please describe your organization, the individuals you should support, eligibility criteria, and your catchment area.
All right, so Easter Seals Ontario is a provincial organization, and they have been going for almost 100 years. In 2022, we will be 100 years old, and so our celebration of our centenary is going to be at the end of the year in November. So we've been supporting children and youth with physical disabilities since 1922. And if you can imagine, all the way back then, there was very little in terms of public health. And so people were very much dependent on charities to support their needs. So we've been doing equipment support since 1922, and since 1937, we've been providing camp experiences for children and youth with physical disabilities. In terms of our eligibility, because resources don't always match the need, we've actually narrowed our focus. So although we talk about being the organization for children and youth with physical disabilities, our clients are actually those that have a physical disability that impacts their mobility. So that is that they need a mobility device such as a wheelchair or a walker. And so this group of children are actually extremely high need. It's not only that they need their mobility equipment, but very likely they're going to need a variety of accessibility and communication equipment. So that's the focus of our organization. In terms of age, we do birth to age 19. And for any of our funded programs, but our camp is actually open to eligible individuals till the age of 26. But then they are joining on a fee-for-service basis.
Wonderful, thank you. Can you describe your organization's vision and how it fits with CTN's focus on F words, child development?
Well, the Easter Seals vision and mission is around helping children and youth with physical disabilities to fulfill their potential and live life to their fullest. So we're really focused on trying to maximize every individual that we support. So in terms of the F words, our equipment program is, in terms of funding, are helping families with the cost of equipment, including essential mobility and accessibility equipment. We actually have 5 categories of equipment, including communication devices, orthotics, bathroom aids, and accessibility aids, and mobility is our 5th category. So that's a really big focus of the organization, because without those devices, our children would be really isolated. If you can't get around in your house and your parents are having to carry you all the time, there's health and safety issues. So really, in terms of function, that's probably one of our top priorities. In terms of fun and friends, really, I'm going to talk about the camp programs. So we've been running camp programs since 1937. These are summer camp overnight programs. We have had to pivot under COVID, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But we've got many years of offering fun, accessible camps where we can really facilitate friendships. So it really, the fun of camp, working on fitness and friends is a big, really big push in terms of the summer camp program. So in terms of the future, we have a couple of things. One is our transition resources to help families plan for the leaving of school and going on to post-secondary, to volunteer involvement, or to employment. And so we have those resources on our Easter Seals Kids at School website. In addition, we offer scholarships, and our scholarships are available every spring, usually with a deadline at the end of April.
Wonderful, thank you. Can you briefly describe what your services and supports are to families right now with our current COVID restrictions?
Well, we have continued to be able to fund our equipment program. One of the real challenges is that Easter Seals has to raise the money that we use for our programs. So we aren't government funded for the camp or the equipment program, so we have to raise every dollar. And of course, in COVID, that has become a huge challenge. So we've really had to pivot in terms of our events, because many of our events were in-person large events. You still can't hold those type of events. So we've pivoted to virtual. Have managed to help families by providing funding to help them with the cost of equipment. One of the real big challenges, first of all, we had to raise the money so that we could help them. So the program has been a bit of a stop and start. When we have funds, we award it. When we don't, we just wait. But the other issue that we've really seen for families is the delays that they've experienced in getting that equipment. So whether it's a delay to manufacturer or in terms of the border crossing. So families typically used to wait 2 to 4 months to get new equipment. We're seeing 6 to 8 and sometimes 9 or 10 months to get the equipment that they were approved to get funding from Easter Seals with. So that is one of our challenges, but we're doing our best to maintain that equipment program. Not quite at the same level as previously, but it was well over $1 million last year.
Wow.
In terms of our camp program, that's where we've done a very significant pivot to virtual camping. So the children we're talking about are extremely vulnerable. So the idea of in-person camping is really not possible, and of course was not allowed by the government last summer. So we switched and developed a virtual camp platform, offered 8 weeks of summer camp last year. We offered a holiday one, and currently are offering a spring break camp this week. And we will again be offering through the summer. So one of the learnings from that camp experience is that there's a lot of kids that don't have access to internet and are not able to participate through the virtual camp platform. And so we've also created a new edition, which is providing directly to the families at home the supplies they need to participate in some of the camp activities. And so then if they're creating some work, then they can mail it back to us. So we're looking at ways to engage those that really can't be engaged through virtual. Some of the things we've heard from families is in terms of the physical and social isolation and the impact it's having on children and youth with disabilities who are more isolated than any other child, and that has a huge mental health component. So we're very, very happy that we're continuing to provide a virtual camp experience. In terms of our other programs, we continue to put information up on our websites, share strategies to use during the COVID pandemic. And we also are continuing to offer our scholarships. As I said, they're available now. And in terms of family information, we're putting new family information up on our websites as frequently as we can.
That's wonderful. I know you have made a huge impact on many families and children with the service that you provide and the funding that you provide. So thank you very much. Thanks again, Allison, for joining us today and for sharing this information with our CTN families. Your website link will be included after this video on the next slide. So thanks again.
You're welcome.